also need to adapt and manage the lesson from conventional classroom to online learning classroom. So the background of the study is I'm looking at the workplace communication skill course, which was originally designed to be conducted through a face-to-face context. All right. So it is a fully coursework without a final examination, which means all the assessment are done during the course. All right. And as the name of the course denotes, it requires a big portion of coursework on communication skill and assessment through communication and speaking assessment. All right. So in total, there are 40% worth of speaking assessment of the course, and 60% of the assessment is written form, and there is one test as well. Right. So basically, the speaking assessment is conducted online, and students need to be able to do the assessment of speaking through the online learning context. Okay, so these are the research question that I'm interested at. I have done before. Okay, so the research question include: how did the student feel about online speaking assessment? What are the challenges that the student face in online speaking assessment? What are the students' preferences on online speaking assessment, as well as what are the learning experiences gained by not just the students, but also the lecturers in participating and executing of the speaking assessment in the online learning classes, right? Okay, so the study design is using action research. So it can be seen that action research is a research approach that is grounded in practical action, right? And while at the same time focus on generating, informing, and building theory, which is the research component. So these two components work in combination, each mutually informing and supporting the other. It is a constructivist approach to research that involves processes of collaboration, dialogue, and action among the participants in the surrounding social system. All right. So the rationale in choosing action research is in the study design, which lies in the practicality of it, as well as the context of the study, which is the classroom, and the context of the immediacy in requiring to do research of what is actually happening in the period of movement control order. Okay, so the 4 phases of action research include: first, identifying the focus. So the focus here is to evaluate the changes that happened and took place in the spoken assessment in the workplace communication course during the shift from face-to-face to the online context, and its effect to the students as well as the educators. So data collection include semi-structured interview, as well as through Google Form, as well as WhatsApp messages. Participants include 45 students enrolling in the workplace communication course, as well as the 2 educators teaching the course. So phase 3 is the analyzing and interpreting data. So this is where the findings are shared, and taking action is where decision is made at the end of the course, as well as in the preparation of the course for the next semester. All right, deciding on what to keep and what to remove as the outcome of the study. So action research is really practical in nature, and it focuses on the action that should be taken to evaluate things that have been done before, and to take action to improve, improvise, and change things that is needed to be changed. So, the preliminary findings include: how did the students feel about online speaking assessment? So the understanding of what is actually online speaking assessment is mixed. Okay, students don't really understand what is online speaking assessment. Some students regard it as the same. You do it face to face like that. You do it online is also the same. All right, but some students regard online speaking assessment is greatly differ. It really different from the one they have done before in the original classroom and the one they do online. So students also reported to have mixed feelings about online speaking assessment. They feel a bit it goes on all the spectrum. Some are worried and scared, some are nervous, some are even excited. So it is a mixed feelings throughout the spectrum of emotions. And in terms of the second findings is, these are the challenges. So the challenges that students face in online speaking assessment. So this is very important in understanding and knowing, so that all these challenges can be mitigated and addressed in the future classes. So challenge 1 is personal. P stands for personal in terms of preparation time to prepare for the speaking assessment. Okay, number 2 is technology related, unfamiliar technology and lack of internet access. So unfamiliar technology is in the early part of the movement control order, in which students are just being introduced to online speaking technology, the technology of Zoom, Google Meet, how to manage it, and so on. So this is the technology related. And the third one, language related. in terms of fluency, in terms of pronunciation, and in terms of vocabulary. So speaking assessment requires accuracy of fluency, pronunciation, as well as the vocabulary use. So students are worried in terms of how they do in terms of...
3 minit lagi, Cik Aisyah.
Okay, thank you for the reminder. And the fourth challenge is task requirement and expectation. So understanding of the task given, as well as fear of high expectation from the lecturer. So these are the challenges that the students reported and shared here. Okay, the third finding is in terms of preference. So here, the speaking assessment most students or majority of the students prefer to be asynchronous. Asynchronous means it is not done in real time. It means it is recorded. And only 31% prefer synchronous online speaking assessment. They prefer this because direct feedback can be given and there will be less communication breakdown and there will be less preparation in terms of recording video, editing, uploading, and sending it, all right? But those majority who prefer asynchronous online speaking assessment, the concern include internet connection limitation during the actual time of the assessment itself, and they believe that they will be given more time to prepare and practice, allow for redo and reassess before they do the submission, and there is also less stress and demand as compared to synchronous assessment. So it allows students to self-assess themselves. Okay, lastly, in terms of, what are the learning experiences by the students include, students' learning experience that they have gained throughout the course, practice and preparation before the task. So they believe that they need to do practice and preparation before the task, so they know that. Task understanding and execution. So learning experience by the student is they need to really understand the task given and they need to know how to execute it well. And they also need to emulate sample tasks given, right? Some students maybe are not aware of this or they just don't care. So in terms of the lecturers, in terms of the educators, the learning experiences include the assessment itself, the creation of the assessment, the formulation of the assessment, in terms of the preparation time, in terms of the guideline given to the students, consultation time with the students, delivery, as well as the outcome, all right? And the online setting also, synchronous should be used for the assessment briefing to the students and asynchronous for the assessment execution, all right? So this is better because it is a win-win situation. Student will do better in the assessment, the lecturer happier when the results are better. Okay, and I think lastly, some discussion and conclusion. So when students do the asynchronous assessment, the demand of recording the video force students to do self-reflection of their own tasks. So this is what is really important and that is usually missed when we do face-to-face, all right?
30 saat.
Okay, so I'm just going to look at the educators. So educators also need to have awareness of the intricacies and demand of the speaking assessment in online setting. So they need to understand the flow and make it visible to the student so that the students understand the task, the requirement, demand, and how to execute it. Okay, lastly, some commercialization potential. The findings can be used as a guideline preparing for developing good speaking assessment and as a reference point for students and lecturers to know the expectation and challenges. Okay, with that, I think that is all. Thank you for listening. And I give it back to the moderator.
Alright, terima kasih Cik Aisyah Amirah untuk pembentangan hasil yang sangat menarik. Jadi saya buka sebarang soalan daripada juri sekiranya ada soalan untuk Cik Aisyah Amirah.
Kita jemput juri yang pertama dulu lah untuk bertanyakan soalan.
Boleh.
Ya, Dok.
Saya dulu ya. Okay, Assalamualaikum. Miss ke doktor ya?
Saya Puan, belum doktor lagi.
Oh, Puan, tak apa. InsyaAllah pada doktor ya. Baik, saya mungkin tanya dalam bahasa Melayu tak apa ke?
Boleh, ya boleh.
Okay.
So, saya memang prepare to in English, so waktu saya present in English.
Tak apa. Berdasarkan apa yang saya lihat dalam poster yang dihantar ini ya, saya lihat kepada apa yang disampaikan ini adalah baik sebenarnya. Tapi saya ingin tahu bagaimana keberkesanan terhadap pelajar-pelajar itu. Adakah ada peningkatan terutamanya secara online ni, sebab kita tahu kan bila kita face to face dengan online adalah berbeza. Jadi bagaimana dengan online ni, adakah nampak keberkesanan dalam speaking itu, adakah nampak peningkatan, penurunan atau bagaimana? Sebab ada dinyatakan bahawa pelajar ni ada yang takut dan sebagainya. Tapi bagaimana melalui online learning ini? Mungkin Puan boleh terangkan?
Okey, baik. Sebab saya pun adalah educator juga dalam dalam subjek ni. So kalau nak compare dari awal ke akhir tu dah kira macam eksperimental kan. Tapi kalau nak compare dengan yang semester sebelum dengan semester sekarang, saya rasa perbezaan tu tak ada perbezaan yang jelas, tapi student lebih selesa dan lebih berani untuk buat speaking assessment online bila intervention tu dibuat. Maksudnya bila ada negotiation dekat kita punya assessment briefing, expectation are being delivered very clearly and students are allowed recording of the assessment. Maksudnya maksudnya expectation kita tu, pencapaian saya sebagai pensyarah tu tercapai lah dengan hasil yang diorang buat tu.
Puan Aisyah, saya nak tanya sikit. So when you do compare with the previous semester to the previous semester tu, online learning or the face-to-face learning?
Previous semester tu face-to-face.
Face-to-face. So how it is being done? Previously memang live, physical.
Okay, contoh kalau speaking assessment tu dia ada group work, group speaking assessment dan dia ada individual speaking assessment. So kalau group speaking assessment tu dia berbentuk contohnya macam mock meeting. So di dalam situasi duduk dalam kumpulan dan dia present, so dia present secara langsung lah. Tapi kalau macam online ni dia macam mock meeting juga tapi dalam bentuk Google Meet. So dia akan bermeeting dalam Google Meet tu dan saya akan assess video Google Meet dia tu lah. So dari segi sebelum ni kalau face to face memang of course lah sebab they can see each other, they know social cue, when to speak and so on. Tapi kalau online ni expectation tu memang tak sama dengan face to face tapi dia tetap mencapai apa yang requirement of the assessment. Maksud
so the changes, so the changes would be the synchronous and asynchronous delivery of the presentation. Okay. So is there any like rubric changes in regards to the when you change it to asynchronous?
Rubric changes in terms of interaction. Sebelum ni untuk interaction tu we have given higher mark bila kita face to face sebab because they are face to face so they can see, they can look at each other, the body language is there. Tapi kalau bila online tu we lower the mark for interactions tu. As long as dia ada guna macam contoh kalau macam mock meeting kita boleh kata what do you think Abu? Do you have any question Ali? So we accept that as interaction and interacting and exchanging of ideas. Sebab kita tak nampak of the body language.
Ini untuk subjek apa boleh saya?
Workplace communication skills.
Workplace communication. So it applies to all students from FPP
No. Sebab saya student dekat FPP tapi saya adalah lecturer dekat luar. Macam tu. Saya student PhD dekat FPP tapi saya juga adalah seorang lecturer dekat college luar. Macam tu. So ini bukan dekat FPP lah, dia dekat college luar.
Okay, so
mohon maaf juri dan kita dah
okay,
masa. Terima kasih Cik Aisyah dan juga juri. Mohon maaf lah terpaksa strict sikit berkenaan masa ni sebab kita ada ramai. Okay, terima kasih. Seterusnya kita jemput pembentang kedua, Dr. Tengku Zeti Mastura Tengku Jamaluddin dari FPSK UPM dengan tajuknya Case Based Learning in Infectious Disease Tablet, a Strategy for Engaging and Interactive Virtual Learning. So kalau doktor dah bersedia, then the screen is yours.
Okay, Assalamualaikum and good morning. Can you see my screen? Ke tak nampak?
Boleh tapi tak full screen. Boleh full screen ke? Okay.
Okay, sekarang boleh nampak ya?
Nampak.
Okay, so Assalamualaikum and good morning. So I'll be presenting from the Department of Medical Microbiology is our case-based learning in infectious diseases, a strategy for engaging and interactive virtual learning. So we have so many counterparts that actually help in our teaching. So this is the infectious diseases module, it's MDR 3014 and it's actually taught in the second semester and it's the final module for the preclinical phase. And this is the first time that we are teaching this module. It's for the new cohort and it's a new curriculum. So MDR 3014 is a module on infectious diseases for the second year. It incorporates the medical microbiology in infectious diseases, and it's a basic science. And it actually encompasses a vast amount of knowledge: epidemiology of diseases, properties of organisms, the mechanism of infections, how infections are manifested in patients, investigations required for diagnosis, treatment, and prevention. So previously, in the undergraduate medicine teaching, we actually have didactic lectures. Okay, so usually it's like a memorization of random microbial facts without clinical relevance, and the outcomes are students are not engaged in classes. Yeah, and it's only a superficial understanding. And furthermore, like the previous speaker mentioned, during this COVID-19 pandemic, schools and learning institutions are instructed to close, and all the teaching activities are conducted online. So students have been reported to have problem in adapting from face-to-face to online learning, and it also results in the reduced motivation in their learning and performance. So we explored a teaching strategy that would engage the students. We wanted them to have a good foundation and for the clinical education, and shape the scientifically grounded and clinically competent medical doctors. So we want them to be engaged in the learning process. So what we say active learning is that you actually seek new information, organize it in a way that is meaningful, and you have the chance to explain it to others. So active learning in class includes the feedback and promoting interactions with the teacher and the other students. So in comparison to the standard lecture format, active learning results in better student attitudes. So teaching with cases is one of the teaching methods for active learning. It integrates knowledge, understanding, and skill. So case-based learning is an interactive and explorative student-centered session akin to real-life situations. A case is as a trigger to initiate learning and promote active learning. So we provided the cases to the students with clinical situation that they will come across in their clinical years. So the CBL were done in small groups. So this will allow the students to develop a collaborative group-based approach to their education. So during online learning, active engagement can be achieved with activities in small groups, and it also motivates individualized learning, encourages scientific inquiry, and allows integrating knowledge and practice. With CBL, students develop better problem-solving skills in comparison to lecture mode. So this is what we actually did in MDR 3014. So I would like to share a short video with all of you.
25 years old man has been an intravenous drug user for the past 5 years and has
is the window period.
I found that window period is the time between when a person get HIV and when a test can accurately detect it.
Okay, so that is our teaching methodology. Sorry, tersasul lah, yeah. Okay. So the assessments that we did were according to what was outlined for the curriculum. Okay, and it was SBAQ, EMI, OSPI, OSCE, and MEQ. When you see here, we don't have any multiple true-false questions. So most of the questions are all case-based. We gave them scenarios, and they had to answer according to that. And everything was conducted online. We used TestMOS. And these are the some of the examples of the questions. And
2 minit lagi, Doktor.
Yeah, okay, thank you. And then we also had OSCE. So this is the clinical examination. So they had to perform it in front of in the Zoom or the Google Meet. And these are our final examination results. And mind you that this is the first time that this module has been conducted, and all of the students actually passed at a first time attempt. There's no receipt for this examination at all. And the median for this cohort was a B+. And the students' feedback. Okay, so they preferred lecture more, okay, being students, they like didactic lectures, but they also were favorable for the SCLs, the case-based. And how would you score your knowledge? They actually scored their knowledge positively. Only one actually said that his knowledge was poor. And their perception on general principles of ID, on the epidemiology, pathogenesis, and investigations and management, most of them had a positive feedback and a positive perception. And the students' comments, these are the positive comments, and they say that it actually helps them to integrate all the previous modules, and it prepares them for the clinical years, and they say that it's an effective way to actually revise compared to lecture, and they hope that all the other modules had more SCLs like this module. However, they said that we hope that there are answers for some of the SCLs and some reference, because they were quite overwhelmed with all the information that were available online, and they said that they did not have the proper skills like lecturers to prepare concise and informative slides. And the lecturer's perception, they said that it was an excellent medium for self-directed learning, and it was really effective to actually teach a clinically relevant course. And they said that it actually enhances the students' preparedness, and it was actually shown in their final examination that all passed at their first attempt.
Mohon maaf, Doktor, 10 minit dah tamat.
Okay, so the conclusion is this: Cablit is potentially an effective strategy to engage students in virtual interactive learning of ID, and the learning outcomes were established. And the main findings for this project may provide an essential framework for teaching and learning in the pandemic era. Okay, thank you.
Baik, terima kasih Dr. Tengku Zeti. Jadi saya buka kepada juri sekiranya ada sebarang soalan.
Okay, saya tanya teruslah ya. So, has there been copyrighted, all the modules have been copyrighted or not?
Okay, we haven't copyrighted it because we just completed the module about 1 or 2 months ago.
Okay, so who is creating the module? Is it part of the students' output, or everything is coming from the lecturer?
The module for commercialization, is it? Or is it the module for the teaching?
The case, the CBL module.
Okay, the CBL were, you see that the names in front were, there are lots of authors involved. So we had so many topics, so we divided it amongst our staff, and everybody created the cases. So for one topic, you have about 3 to 5 cases per topic.
Okay, so this has just been created since the online learning have commenced, right?
Well, actually, this is actually a new module, and it's supposed to be face-to-face, but with the COVID-19 pandemic, we had to actually do everything online.
Okay, so it's possible to have this done physically, right? Is that what
yes,
I understand?
True,
Okay.
yes.
Probably Dr. Nadia got some questions also.
Okay, saya doktor.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okey doktor, saya tak ada nak tanya apa sangat, cuma saya nak tahu tadi ada komen daripada student mengatakan bahawa pembelajaran ini mengambil masa yang lama, betul tak? Ada saya nampak tadi take time, dia kata SDL dia take time tu.
Yes.
Jadi macam mana doktor memastikan bahawa SDL ni adalah sesuatu pembelajaran yang memudahkan? Kita nak counter balik apa yang student bagi maklum balas, apa yang doktor macam mana, apa yang doktor pastikan bahawa benda tu sebenarnya tidak mengambil masa macam tu. Doktor faham kan? Boleh kan?
Okay, faham. Sebenarnya kalau nampak kita ada student about 100 students, and each group ada about 10 to yang maximum pun about 13 students, and actually they divide their work and task, and some students they are able to cope to prepare the assignment, but some students they need more time. So we will try to, for the next module, we will try to adjust when we actually give them the assignments. Because everything now we are uploading it on Putra Blast, and at least about one week. We gave them about 1 week to do it. Yeah.
Okay, I have another question in regards of the recognition that I've seen in your poster. How are these related to your CBL module? Okay, one is on Sulam, and the other one is blended learning approach. Is it a different thing, or is there any upgrades to that?
Okay, the blended learning approach was actually on antimicrobial teaching for the undergraduate students, and that was face-to-face, and it was for the previous curriculum.
Okay. So you don't use CBL approach in that?
We have a lecture and also a small group teaching, but we also use some CBL also embedded. But it's more of like they do it in the groups in the class.
In the class. Yeah. Oh, okay. So this one is individual.
This one is in a group, but we give it prior to them coming to class.
Okay, I understand.
So they prepare it beforehand, they discuss it amongst themselves, and they present it in class.
Yeah, so because I'm very familiar with case-based learning, I do believe that students do get involved more when they are in the simulated environment. They can see better all the content rather than just lecturing. Okay, I would like to congratulate on your finding, on your effort. Okay, this is a lot. Yeah, I think it's very clear for me what you have
Thank you
achieved.
very much, Doctor.
Alright, masa untuk Q&A dah tamat. Terima kasih Dr. Tengku Zeti dan juga juri. Seterusnya, saya menjemput pembentang ketiga, Encik Ahmad Danish bin Zulkarnain dari Marvel Enterprise untuk membentangkan poster yang bertajuk The New Normal Learning Experience Program, a collaborative learning platform. Kalau Encik Ahmad Danish dah bersedia, then the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you. Kejap saya share